We turn now to Michael McFaul, the former ambassador to Russia, probably the perfect U.S. Source on this. I wonder if we could start with the basics. On a scale of always to never, where does this proposal fit into your experience in U.S. diplomacy with Russia?
Never. I've never heard of anybody asking to come to our embassy from Russia to communicate with people back here in the United States or vice versa. Again, you know, this reporting sounds very credible to me, and this team from the Post has done a fantastic job. But this is really strange on so many different levels, Ari. And let's just start with the first one. I was also part of the Obama transition team in 2008. I was the Russia person. I then went to the National Security Council to do the Russia portfolio in 2009. We never spoke to Ambassador Kislyak once during that period. I got to know him pretty well when I worked at the White House. That was my job. But the very fact that they were meeting with him already raises my eyebrows, let alone the content which you have just been talking about for the last 2 minutes.
You're saying the timeline, even in a normal environment, of using the transition period to sort of rush to meet with the Russian ambassador, and in this case also a banker, strikes you as odd?
Very odd. I want to really underscore how extraordinary this is. We had one phone call between President-elect Obama and President Medvedev, a congratulatory call, and that was it. Medvedev actually came to the country, by the way. A whole bunch of Russians came for a G20 summit, and we chose deliberately not to meet with them because of the principle of one president at a time.
Right.
Moreover, what is the rush? You know, January 21st, you have all those communications. What was the necessity of having this conversation? And of course, why did it need to be in this confidential channel? Obviously, I don't know the answers, but those are very strange interactions between the transition team and the Russians. So strange that Ambassador Kislyak himself found it to be strange because, of course, I'm sure he's never heard of an American wanting to come into the Russian embassy to communicate with the Kremlin in Moscow.
Ambassador McFaul, this is not a movie. If it were a movie, though, it could be 1950 or 1850 if the key notifying piece of evidence on this story is a letter that was just sent. What do you make, given your experience, about who would be in the position to both have that information that has now been corroborated on a number of levels, as the reporter just outlined, and then basically decide for their own rationale to send that letter to the Washington Post?
Well, transitions are pretty chaotic times, so more people have exposure to these kinds of things than normal. But to write that letter, to send it the way they did, obviously this person thinks that the world needed to know, and that is very consistent with a lot of the leaking that has happened subsequently. Now, I want to say I am not a big fan of leakers. I think that is, I took an oath of office not to give classified information. This obviously is before. This is part of the transition. But what it says, if you have this kind of very sensitive information and you go to the extraordinary lengths to put it out there, it means that you're really seriously concerned about the content of what else is going on.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to ask you that, Ambassador. Final question. Obviously, neither of us can get in the mind of this anonymous person, but from your experience, you're saying your interpretation is that this is more likely some sort of U.S. official or someone linked to U.S. diplomacy who leaked this because they thought it might constitute some kind of malfeasance?
Like you, Ari, I don't want to pretend I know what motivated people, but listening to the story now, it sounds really crazy. And by the way, you said it earlier, it could easily be that this is just a person, Mr. Kushner, that is just way over his head. He doesn't understand diplomacy. He doesn't understand intelligence. He knows nothing about the Russians. And this whole idea of a back channel when you're about to move into the White House, for goodness sakes, you do a direct channel. You don't need a back channel. By the way, Mr. Gorkov is not the right back channel. I know him. Why meeting with the head of VEB Bank? It just suggests naivete to me. That's one explanation. But the person that sent this letter, I think, thought that there was something more to it. And I don't want to jump to that conclusion because I don't know that, but there's a lot of questions that I think we now need to know the answers. We need to know from Mr. Kushner himself why he was going to these extraordinary lengths.
Well, Ambassador McFaul, I know you to be a measured diplomat who uses words carefully, but I understand you to be speaking pretty starkly, at least, about the questions raised here in this story tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Now, since we have come on the air tonight, there is more news, believe it or not, that has broken about Jared Kushner's contact with the Russian ambassador. And the reporter on that story will join us shortly. We'll also be speaking tonight, as I mentioned, with a member of the House Intelligence Committee about all this because it is a big news night. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.